They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Dead Dad, a horror podcast.
Brought to you by Big Baby Studios.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Dead Air, a horror podcast. We are your hosts for this podcast, and I'm going to start this time. Usually we start with the male, but let's start with a girl. My name is Erin, and I'm one of your hosts. And for the purpose of this podcast, I am the dummy. Well, I don't want to say dummy. I think I've gotten smarter and learned a little bit more. Yeah. So I am the one who did not go to film school. I am the one who watches films for how it makes me feel. And so when these two film school people start talking about the directors and their trademarks and things like that, I'm the one who goes, why? What's their trademark? So that people who don't go to film school understand what this podcast is about. I have two other co-hosts with me. Please introduce yourselves.
Should I go first?
Yes, you can. Please go ahead.
All right. Hi, I'm Miguel. I love watching movies, but horror movies are a bit of a blind spot. I'm not super keen on it, but because of this pod, I've been learning to enjoy horror films.
Yes,
there you go.
I am the exact opposite of Miguel. This is all I watch. I don't know if that makes me kind of uncultured, but or does it make me more fun?
Depende yata sa beer yun, Chris.
Yes, that's true. But yeah, so I'm a super duper big horror movie fan, and apparently our guest is too. Erin, would you like to introduce?
Yeah. So our guest, it's very exciting to have her here because not only is she the youngest guest to grace our presence, she is also a musician, independent artist, and the way I know her is she is an activist on the correct side of the political scale. Oh, did I just say that? Oh my God, did I did.
She went
so
there.
good. That's so good.
I love it. She went there.
All right. So ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome to our podcast, Miss Frankie Pangilinan.
Yes.
Hello, everybody. Oh my goodness gracious. I didn't know that the intro was going to be that. I was like, oh yes.
That's okay. That's on me because that's how I introduced it. So, hi, Frankie. Welcome. We're so happy to have you here.
So
Thanks for agreeing to do this.
Here. Thank you for having me. Like literally, I'm so excited. I don't think you understand how excited I actually am to get started. I couldn't stop talking for the whole time that we've been on the call. So I think
that's
great.
fine.
Yeah, that's
we
fine.
need that. We need that. And we want to know actually first, before anything else, what is your horror origin? Meaning, what made you enjoy horror films or the genre of horror in the first place?
Okay, so there's two categories, and you guys can choose, or I can just ramble on a bit about both. But so there's
please
film,
ramble.
Both of them.
So
please.
film wise or life-wise. Ooh,
Anything.
Wow.
Ooh, why don't you share both?
Yeah.
Why don't you share both?
I'm ready.
Yeah.
That's the thing, right? Because it's so hard to I ended up studying in New York for a semester. And I only realized there that it's actually really weird that in the Philippines, magical realism is sort of and horror realism. It's like if somebody says I can see ghosts, there's no qualms about it. You don't argue about it. You know, it's like you take that at face value. You're like, yes, okay, so you see ghosts. You see mga duende. You know, you go through a field. It's always tabi-tabi po, everything like that, right? And it was only when I went to school in the States that I was like, oh, that's not I realized it's actually this is really still an argument. There are people out there who don't believe in ghosts, and so I had to sort of sit back and be like, wait, that's so weird because. So my family is Cuneta side when I say my family because Pangilinans are very much I think because Pangilinans are a lot less, I don't know how to put this. They're a lot less fantastical maybe with ideas, you know. But Cunetas are very, very, especially because my mom's dad was super old. I'm so sorry, Tatay, but he was super old. He was born in 1910. Which is right, which is ridiculous. Yeah, so obviously that in itself was sort of the generational gap makes sort of the eerie spiritual stuff a little more fishy, especially since there was a story when I was 9 years old. Basically, my mom was telling us all these stories about how her lolo her dad, my lolo, basically would wake up in the middle of the night because his parents were farmers, and then one night now he woke up and then there were there was like this whole crowd of people in the room with him, and like only did he only realized afterwards when his dad was like whispering pala in the corner. So like my mom's lolo was like whispering in the corner or something like that, and he only realized when like a couple of them like turned around and they were headless. Like my lolo was super like really like spiritually sort of right, and all of my cousins I don't know if anybody's gonna believe this, but all of my cousins can see and like fully hear ghosts. And there's like this sort of mildly ongoing theory that because I was in the womb when my mom's dad passed away, so I can only hear them, which is like weird. But like that's the thing. It's not like I don't know like how real that is, but like I do hear stuff, and you know what I mean. Like I can't explain that I hear stuff, but like. So that's a thing that happens. And I don't know, people might think I'm crazy, but like, I think Pinoy's more
That's making me laugh so much right now because I see how uncomfortable Miguel
I was
is
just
getting.
going to say, like, I can see him right now. I know what's going through his head.
When you were telling your story, I could see him already shaking his head ever so slightly.
That's the thing, like, you know, like he was so weird. Like his whole parang I will always hear stories about this. Like I think they had like a house in Baguio way back in the day that they would never hire security for. But at like the same hour every night, all of the locks in the house would just click, like closed. And at some point, this house was broken into. And the people who broke into the house were there until sunrise, until other people were able to come in and like because they couldn't find the exit. Like stuff like that.
I love it.
So that was my mom's dad. Yeah. So like he was really like super like weird, right? Like super hella. And like that's the thing. It's, you know, I don't even question it because he was so old. Like I don't think that any of that was fake because I fully believe it. I'm too scared to believe otherwise. I'm so sorry, Miguel.
Miguel is loving this. Miguel is loving this.
Sarili na justify yung not rewatching the movie we're about to discuss.
Really? Is it justified though? Is it?
No.
It's justified for me, man. I'm the person that has to sleep in this house.
Oh my god.
No, there's no going around this, Miguel.
So annoying.
But that was, oh my god, so that was amazing. That's your horror origin in your
real
personal life.
In films naman, for film wise, it's a little simpler than that. My mom loves horror movies due to childhood experiences of her own, right? And because she my mom also loves like escapism stuff. Whenever she's stressed, her number one, she's sort of like, you know, if people are like fight or flight, my mom is definitely flight. And even though she won't acknowledge that, she's 100% flight. And part of that is like watching like movies. And I remember asking her, I was like, Mom, like, why is it whenever she, parang her eyes are like maga or something, she's like really stressed about a work thing and stuff like that. When I was really small, I was like, why is it whenever I catch you like sort of like after a cry, she's watching a horror movie? And she's like, because I just want to be reminded that people have worse problems. And I was like,
I love it. Oh, so good.
And to this day, so like whenever I'd be sick, and I was sick a lot as a kid, like sickly, super, I don't know, batamlay, whatever, right? My mom would always watch horror movies with me when I was sick because my fever was not a demon. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what her knowledge, like her logic was there, but it helped a lot. And that's why I think I have a pretty high, like, fear tolerance, like, level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Developed over the years.
Yeah. Because
and like, your film choice was damn.
Yeah.
Damn. Good job.
Because I figured, right? I saw the list that you guys sent, and then I was actually thinking for doing Conjuring 2. Because that's probably the only, in recent memory, that's probably the only horror film that really actually scared me. Because I don't normally get spooked. But
have you seen the first one?
I saw the first one.
I can tell you one of our hosts hasn't, even though he was supposed to.
Yeah. So I'm so glad you didn't pick 2, because that would mean I'd have to see 1 and then 2.
Oh my god. I was gonna pick Conjuring 2. I have a pretty because the thing about it is I know that The Exorcist would have probably scared me more than it did if I didn't watch it with my mom. And I'll explain why once we get there. But the Conjuring was really annoying. And all of those naman, like in recent memory, I think every good horror movie I've seen recently, you feel a bit of like that it's cut from the cloth of The Exorcist, no? Sort of. That's
right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
I fully believe.
So yeah, we mentioned The Exorcist already. Thanks for
sorry.
for picking this. No.
No,
Perfect. Thanks for
for the
picking this
perfect
movie.
segue.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sure a lot of people have seen it, but maybe some people who are listening to this have not seen it. So we'd like to know the synopsis of this from someone who was supposed to watch
Yeah,
the movie.
totally. And first of all,
First
Sure,
of all,
I can-
I want to make
I-
sure that this
I can
isn't
do
you
this.
reading the
Yeah.
IMDb page.
yeah, you want me to show a mirror to the screen and then you can see that it's only our window that's open. So I was just gonna
So
point out.
defensive.
I was just gonna point out. Now it's really interesting. Now our youngest guest picked out a classic movie
Yes.
that was shown way before she was born, and in fact, the first time I saw this movie, which was the sort of re-release,
Also,
I
the
saw
last
it,
time you saw the movie.
yeah, the first and last time I saw this movie, I saw it also before she was born, which is kind of amazing.
Amazing or
amazing and terrifying in like a life way. So the movie's The Exorcist, and it's sort of up there talaga with one of the scariest movies ever. So to summarize, there's this little girl. She's the daughter of an actress. This little girl is sorry, what's her name again? Linda
Reagan.
No, Reagan. No, but
Linda.
Linda Blair.
Yeah.
Super famous for for coming out in The Exorcist. Until now, it's her trademark. So she's this child, and the movie opens pala, if I remember correctly, in some other country. Like they're in an archaeological dig. And that's where we're introduced to one of the priests, played by Mark von Sydow.
Max.
Did I say his name right?
Max.
Max. Super love that actor. And then, now they're in the States, and the kid is possessed or parang exhibits some really weird symptoms of something. So they bring her to the hospital. The doctor says it's not physiological, it's probably psychological. And so I think they get a priest, and then the priest comes, and I think the priest is overcome. So he gets a backup priest to help him out. Right?
Okay.
And then they do battle with a demon. It's so scary. And then things happen, like heads turn. Things come out. Heads turn.
There's pee vomit everywhere.
There's pee vomit. There's also a weird, really icky scene with a crucifix. And then many languages are spoken. And then some priests die, which is kind of sad.
Some priests die.
Okay,
Some of them.
technically,
Yeah. Two of them die, I think. And but they're successful.
Got
so
it.
Cool.
Okay, so
Super devoid details because I saw it over 30 years ago.
Yeah, so I was just gonna ask, Frankie, what do you think of Miguel's synopsis there?
I would give
Okay
that.
naman, diba?
Yeah,
How would you
like
grade that?
as somebody, I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of somebody who's probably never seen the film. So I'm thinking if I heard that synopsis, I might avoid it with a 10-foot pole. But also I would be delightfully intrigued. You know, just like
Delightfully intrigued.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it was a pretty good summary.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
I'll forgive it. I'll forgive it.
I hate you guys. Kapal nyo.
Thank you.
Just
Miguel.
saying, we watched it. You know.
Yeah, we watched
it
it.
again.
We rewatched
Yeah,
it.
good at you guys.
But well, first of all, Miguel brought up a great point. Now, I think it's
You're welcome.
well. Which point do you think I'm gonna refer to?
Whatever it is, you're welcome.
Okay. Well. I was also really surprised that you picked a classic. For someone who's really young. And it's also funny. Like we've had a lot of older guests on the show, and they pick the newer films. So it's really kind of fun. Like
It's kind of fun.
there's no set rule to like for what you enjoy or don't enjoy.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I actually want to thank you because I also haven't seen it in a long time, and I wouldn't have watched it again if you didn't pick that movie for this podcast. And it's funny because when I watched it, there were so many scenes that I don't remember. I don't remember this archaeological dig. I didn't remember. There was a scene where in the church, the priest was just going to bring something, and then the Virgin Mary had like
Oh, that's one of the scariest scenes for
pointy.
me.
Yeah, that was freaky. So yeah, thank you. That was so scary. What did I see? Why, Miguel? Why did you put your hands
Nothing.
up?
It's just that whenever somebody says something from the movie, parang may konting flashback and like, not so cool. Parang like, I remember that scene. That was kind of scary talaga. Like,
It was pretty scary. It was pretty
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah.
What scared you the most about it, Frankie?
No, that's the thing. I don't remember being outright scared of it at any point. Like, I don't say that to like flex. I say that because my mom was watching it with me. And here's the problem with that. Here's the problem with that. She has commentary. She's like, like audible commentary. And I think that's why I wanted to talk about it a little bit, because the truth is that I wanted to rewatch it and sort of be like, I want to get scared by this because I know that it's really scary. Like, people were like, I know the history of it because my mom was obviously spending that whole archaeological big introduction. She was going like, back in the day, like in the theaters, like people would like go out and like throw up because of this. And I'd be like, oh, well, now that I'm in bed with the flu, now we're going to watch this. Like, Mom, what if I, and like, I love my mom. She's slightly insane, which is my favorite part of her. I think I got a bit of it as well. So we'll see. But like, I remember
I see it.
She has like, there's like this scene, right, where Reagan, like where there's all like the vomit and stuff like that. Like, we're already like right in the heat of it. And I remember that scene so clearly, not even because it affected me on any like sort of disgust level. It affected me because the second like the door opens and like enter scene, right? My mom's the first word out of my mom's mouth is "ay banto," and I'm like now I can't be scared. Or like when like there's like when there's like a jump scare situation, or like when she's just like suddenly she'll just go like "ee," and I'm like, Mom, well now I can't appreciate like any of this. She'll be like "bulaga," and I'm like, stop, like I want to watch like. But that's why. So it's so interesting to me because she's tainted so much of my horror taste also. That if I'm in any, like, I'll be on like a date or something and then we'll watch a horror movie because obviously, like she'll probably get scared. I don't know. But like sitting there watching it happen, right? I hear my mom's voice at the back of my head and it ruins everything. It ruins every mood because I'll hear her go like, "Tinan mo yan, mabantot yan. Tinan mo yan. Oh my God, ang panghi niyan." Like, Mom, like, I don't want to know. Like,
this is
suspend.
This is next level parenting.
It is.
Even when you're on a date, parang you can hear her voice. Like.
Exactly. It's really conditioning. I think that might have been the strategy. Yeah. I think that might have been it. Yeah. Because to this day, I can't watch. But that's why I wanted to sort of. That's the other thing. Also, I was only able to skim through it, so I wasn't able to like watch the whole thing again. But I did buy the director's cut, the extra long one, because why not? So like I skimmed through that.
So good.
Because my brother was with me. My baby brother, whose name is also Miguel, and he was easily scared. He was like with me. And he was like, I had to like skim through it. And then every time he'd like come in like, "Ate, what's that? Like, why are there like spikes on like the head? Like, why is there blood, Ate?" I'll be like, "That's just makeup. It's just a costume. Like, it's nothing."
Yeah. Yep.
Oh. He came out. I think he wants to say hi.
Oh,
Sure.
He's not gonna... No, never mind. He got shy. He got shy.
Okay.
It's like Miguel looking at his past self.
Yeah, exactly.
There was something about the movie pala that surprised me. So I assumed that iconic upside down the stairs crawl thing, was that in the original also or also on the later? Oh shit! I thought it was.
It was in the 99 because I remember that. I remember when they were showing the trailer in the theaters. Yeah.
That was the
and
one
that
they
was
really,
the one.
that they were touting that like we've got new footage and then it's terrifying and look at the spider walk.
I don't think they could have taken that in the 70s. No, that's too much.
It's really scary.
So you saw it on the trailer. I knew it was gonna come, but when it happened, I kind of lost my mind. Parang, what the fuck happened there? Parang, galing.
It's
anyway,
like, and I think what creeps me out about it also, this movie and The Omen, they share this in common, and I'm sure a lot of other horror movies, but like those two in particular, like the stories out of set for me were the ones that I was like, whoa, that's like kind of eerie, right? That's kind of scary. Like I remember The Exorcist, right? There were so many like on-set accidents, and people like the actors were like all suffering injuries and stuff like that. And I don't know if that's if it's my ultra religious family that's like making me think that, or like, just straight up because that's what my mom was saying. But she was like, that's just because like somebody out there, that means that there's something out there that doesn't want these stories to be told. And I was like, I was like, that's so eerie. But that's why it's so carved into my memory as like, because it almost feels as if you're watching something unfold in real life, because like stuff like that has happened. There's like tapes of, I don't know how real that is, but like there are tapes of like exorcisms that go around, and I know that my Lola did a couple of exorcisms supposedly at home and things like that. Yeah, my mom's mom
is loving
exactly.
Jackpot to jackpot.
But that's why it really like, diba? I feel like it's such an iconic. I mean, obviously, because it was so controversial at the time, diba? Like nobody was able to search. Parang so many studio heads were like, let's not put this out and I mean, obviously, also there was a lot of about the scenes in itself, like that scene with the crucifix and everything like that. But it's so interesting.
Still so jarring.
It is like there's nothing out there like that's as gruesome as this anymore. And like think about it, think about it now in this context, in the world that we live in, and then. Back then, like no wonder people were out there leaving the theater just to like throw up or like do things like that. Like,
dude, seriously,
yeah,
absolutely. This is like watching it again because I know it. When we started this podcast, one of the first questions we asked each other was like, "What was the scariest movie?" I answered The Exorcist because I remember it really terrified me because again, like you, I was raised in extremely Catholic background or like religious background.
Yeah.
So religious horror is the one that really gets to me. So that's why this is really, really big for me. But watching it again, it's like, wow, it lost nothing of its like.
Yeah.
It is so jarring. Like the imagery is so jarring.
Cinematographically, it's so good as well. Like the lighting and everything.
God.
Like,
yes.
I just know
the famous shot of Father Marin standing in front of the house is incredible.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Actually,
Go ahead.
Why? What do you remember?
Really? What do you remember from 25 years ago?
Because they also used it as the poster, remember? Parang the image of him standing on. Ay, nako.
Poster.
So good.
You know what's so funny? What I remember the most, because when I saw it years ago, I remember the thing that stuck with me the most was priests can do all of this shit. They smoke. They box, they jog. Like, what the fuck? Really? Priests are doing this? So when I watched it again earlier, everything the priest was doing, I was like, priests go to the bar? Go to parties and sing? Do priests do this?
Priests sort of look like Sylvester Stallone as well. Like, I remember watching it.
That's actually this is the part where what I really want to talk about this movie. Because everyone remembers when you think about The Exorcist, you think about Reagan, and you think about the head turn, and you think about the pea soup vomit, and you know the crucifix scene. For me, like this movie is really Damien Karras. Like he is like for me, he is one of my favorite on-screen characters that has ever.
Which one is he? The first priest?
I mean, if you watched it again, you would know. But you saw this movie 25 years ago. So
he's the first priest, right?
It's Father Karras. He's the younger guy.
Yeah,
he looks like Sylvester Stallone.
And then he had to call for backup, right?
Yes, that's him.
But he's the one who left the exorcism, right? Because
he
left it? Did he leave it, Miguel?
He was freaked out.
He was told to leave. Father Marin told him.
From what I remember 25 years ago.
Thank you for your 25-year-old input. But yeah. So like you said that you compared this to The Omen. That's something that they have in common, right? The name Damien. It's a very big name in horror mythology. When we got pregnant with my wife and we found out it was a boy, one of the first names that I was like throwing out was like, what do you think of Damien? And then like she was like, no, that's a cursed name. It's a cursed name. Like Damien the Omen. Everyone thinks of The Omen. I actually meant Damien from Damien Karras because I love the Father Karras.
Yeah, Father Karras.
Like he's such a great character. Like I love his art. Like exactly what you guys were saying. Like what Aaron was saying, like, wow, he boxes, he goes to the bar. Like actually in the book, he's a big film buff. So in the book, he's really good friends with the detective. I don't know if you would remember the detective from watching it 25 years ago, Miguel. But in the film, there is a detective, and he's close friends with Father Karras, and they watch movies together. And so I was like, wow, this character is so cool. He boxes, he goes jogging. He's like, he has this big crisis of faith. But he's also like the counselor for other priests. And he's so open about like his doubts, and he has this whole relationship with his mother and his guilt about not being able to take care of her all the time.
Oh man,
it's incredible.
I wish I rewatched the movie.
I wish you did too. Same. But
He's like such an interesting, well-shaded character.
Super.
But I think
I'm sure I felt this way when I first saw it 25 years ago about this character.
I think that's what draws a lot of people to it, though. It's that because that, for the time, right? Like nowadays, I guess you get a lot of like horror cliches in it, where it's sort of like we all know that there's probably a jump scare there. Like don't go down that hallway. Like there's always like, parang. Have you guys ever seen those like maps of Marvel movies where they say that there's like a first battle, and then there's like a calm one, and then there's like a hero's parang
journey
anguish situation, and then so like same for horror movies now, right? Like I can think of so many, like only ever so often is there usually like a twist now. But the thing about this is I feel as if that, like in terms of its age especially, like that's exactly what made it so, that still makes it so good now, because you can tell that like there was no blueprint for The Exorcist. The Exorcist is the blueprint, diba? Like it follows no cliches because it started all those cliches. It follows no guideline. It's just this. It had to be a completely new, different vision situation. And the fact that they were able to, can I just say, Max von Sydow passed away only last year. And only then did I remember, like I remembered that vaguely from before, thinking, but they aged him up so much for that film.
Yeah,
and
I just read that he was 46 in this movie.
Yeah, it didn't look tacky or
he looked like he was like 75 or something.
Yeah, and that was like that in itself. That just proves, I think, like cinematographic like excellence, right? In terms of the lighting, crew, and then the effects. Obviously, were also very like, and the fact that it still gives people chills today, like.
It aged so well.
It did.
It aged so well.
It really did.
I mean, for the three of us that saw it recently, and we can say that it aged so well.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I guess the character of Father Karras, is he?
Father Karras.
I think he's the avatar for all of us. Parang super flawed. We're a witness to all these crazy things happening, but sometimes we don't have the power to completely solve it, and we need help. So I think that's his value, and that's why people relate to him a lot.
Yeah.
And I liked it so much that they made us care so much in the beginning, even for Reagan. They made her so cute, they made her so sweet.
That's why that's even more jarring when she becomes, when Pazuzu takes over her body, because you see her as a kid and she's so innocent. And she was so she's
sweet.
introduced as a 13-year-old.
Yeah.
And then suddenly like masturbating with a cross. Like I was still so shocked watching that scene again.
And even the build up towards it, they didn't give anything away. When that Ouija board, that really quick scene with the Ouija board, they didn't even extend that. It was just a quick like, oh, Captain Howdy's here. Oh, Captain then he didn't even answer her question, diba? So you're kind of thinking, okay, what's this?
Like, who's that?
It really built up. Yeah,
I think
so good.
All of the elements kasi also in it were just really, yung parang, it was paced really well also. Like I know it's so long, but it was paced really, really well for what it is, diba? Because there's so many other things that they could have focused more on. But like I feel as if they were just, the overall message was really just like it really made you feel so helpless by the end, And I think that was the whole point. It was like, let's drive an audience to just utter absolute helplessness. And then, let's take everything, let's strip everything away. Because that's the whole point. It's like, it's supposed to be super bleak and hopeless.
It's supposed to, yeah.
As opposed to, because I guess now there's also like really nice, like sort of like resolution situations, but like The Conjuring, like we were talking about that kanina, but just like now, like, the family's back together and things, and then it makes you feel like light and things like that. But the thing about The Exorcist is after that, I didn't feel better. Like I don't
No
I
one,
don't know
no
how to
one
explain.
won. Yeah.
It was like it's still out there. It was just casted out
Yeah.
of their body, but it's still out there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
we
like
had
the
to
only-
watch The Circle right after to kind of like, alright, wala na to, wala. Reality TV, yan. Okay, perfect.
Love
Yeah, The
Island,
Circle
Love
season 2
Island.
is so good. Anyway. So
So
good.
good, so
So good. Team Courtney. Anyway.
Oh, same. Okay,
yeah.
that's enough. That's
Yeah,
enough of
yeah.
that. All right.
Wow, I am again lost in this conversation.
Maybe you saw it about 25 years ago.
So I've been googling, and you know who Jason Miller reminds me of? He kind of looks like Gabriel Byrne.
Yes.
Yeah.
I totally agree. Yeah.
And Gabriel Byrne also appeared in a horror movie that's about Exorcism 2. It super freaked me out. Stigmata. Remember Stigmata with Patricia Arquette?
Patricia Arquette.
Oh,
Yeah, and he
Never
also
seen
plays
that
the
one.
priest. And this movie came out in 1999. So in 1999, when I probably saw this Exorcist reboot or revival, it's probably the same year I saw Stigmata, and I think I was kind of exorcised out for that year.
That's enough.
Puro priest battling possessions.
Demon. He's the father. I don't know if you know that actor Jason Patrick. He was in Speed 2.
Oh,
He replaced Keanu.
my
who's the
mom
father?
also made me watch Speed, but she was so mad about us. She said you're not allowed to watch Speed 2 because my mom is utterly in love with Keanu Reeves. So I know the face of Jason Patrick.
That's great.
Yeah, I know his
Yeah,
face because
Jason
I know we
Patrick.
had to curse it every single day because my mom is such a Keanu stan.
I love it. Yeah. So yes, but doesn't he look see Father Karras, that guy Jason Miller, like just to go back, I just his end is so painful for me. Like Frankie, you were saying that like you watch this movie and you're like, wow, you don't feel good, even though
Yeah.
they technically defeated Pazuzu.
But at
He's
what
still
cost?
out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
What cost? Exactly.
But like his only win, their only win was he got him out of Reagan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just such a tragic story. It's so tragic. That's why I really love Father Karras.
I think
So-
also
But the way it ended, I was kind of like, because I forgot that happened. And I was like, yun na yun?
Yeah, he
my
said,
God,
"Come
that's
into me,
it?
come into me." So he called Pazuzu into himself, and then in a moment of clarity, he killed himself.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So, and that's
Wow.
why, right? Like, you
So
don't
painful.
see that now. Usually you see it like,
Yeah.
cast, like, get out, like, demon, like, in the name of everything like that. And then
Mhm.
suddenly there's like light and there's like a breeze and everything, right? But then there, it's like, diba? Like, diba? And then like suddenly
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
orchestral music comes in and you feel as if everything is really peaceful. It's no longer like the heavy bass sounds, diba? And things. And
Yeah.
like the warm tone, the color grading suddenly warmer. Like I can, like, diba? Like that's usually I can name so many movies right now where it's exactly the same thing. And I think that it's like
yeah,
that's why, like to this day, I think that's why there's like such an effect with it because you can't replicate that name. It's
No.
literally just like you lose everything, and you're just like, well,
Yeah.
wow. Especially because I think we're made to be so attached to Father Karras' like character, nga, diba? Like to us, it's like okay, so
Yeah.
there's this sweet, like innocent, like beautiful little girl, but at the same time, I think he got more screen time than she ever did, like obviously. And so like,
Yeah.
you know, we're sort of seeing things through his lens or like his perspective most of the time in the film. And so
Yes.
you feel sort of like, wait, like what a waste. It's so
yes,
I was
because you're rooting for him also. Like
yeah.
like oh man, that scene where she starts talking in his mother's voice.
Demi,
Jamie, why you do this to me?
man. But, if you think
Yikes.
about it, medyo, he was put out of his misery na rin. Because he was so guilty. He was so
He was
guilty
so
Yeah,
the
he
whole
was.
time about his
Yeah.
mom. So maybe he found peace.
But that's the
I
thing,
don't
though. It's sort of
know.
like
and
when
about
it-
his faith too. Like he was really, doubting.
yeah.
So I think before he killed himself, he came to terms with his own faith. Like he
Mhm.
accepted that, basically,
Yeah.
that,
But like-
God and the devil exist.
Exactly.
Basically, that in his world.
And that's so important also. I think what you were mentioning earlier about like, having grown up in like such a deeply religious family and like deeply religious society as it is, no? Pinoys are super religious anywhere you go. I think that like just seeing, it's always going to be scarier for me to see religious iconography in horror stories because it defines so much of like how I still
Same.
continue to live my life. How I've always lived my life and like how I've sort of stopped like I think in recent like months lang, I was sort of realizing like obviously I tend to take like a more personal, like I feel as if my personal view of my faith is more important to me than any sort of establishment. But that's just for me, you know.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like growing up like within establishments and like respecting still like certain establishments, like specific parts of it. Like it's so scary to see. And I still, I still believe in Jesus. Like I still believe in, in everything like that. And it's like, wait, like don't do that to the cross. Like don't do that to the, like please. And I think that's what
Actually, when I was watching it earlier, my roommate and I were like, do non-Catholics get possessed? And we were thinking about it.
There's other ano, diba? There's like other.
No, yeah.
There's ano, parang, I mean, that's why I guess every faith has like some version of an exorcist. Also,
Yeah.
which is like, wow. No, it's like one of those.
I grew up in a born again church, diba? And I think sa amin they call it an oppression. Like the person is being oppressed by a demon, parang yun.
By
Or the devil, yeah.
bigger force.
Yeah.
How were you religious, Miguel?
Yeah, I grew up in going to Sunday school and youth schools.
What do you feel about like religious horror?
It scares the shit out of me. Obviously, but pero kasi
What doesn't? But yeah.
Huh? Yeah.
What?
Wasn't there a movie that I was super scared of?
Misery.
Or even the torture porn movie that was okay lang for me. What was that again? But anyway, like anytime it's religious horror, especially from the
Audition,
or especially from the Christian like tradition. I grew up in that tradition kasi, so it's still close to home a lot.
Sure.
So I still remember everything. All the Bible stories are, parang the very idea of the devil freaks you out. So malakas pa rin yung impact nun on me. It's still one of the scarier genres for me there.
Sure.
Yeah.
How about you, Aaron? Super curious.
Religious horror?
Yeah.
Well, diba, remember in the past podcast, I was saying, no, it's the ghosts that scare me. It's Mumu, it's ghosts. And I was saying that religious horror is okay. Like, it shocks me and ganon. But when I watched Exorcist again today, I think my mind changed a little bit. I messaged the group, sabi ko, you know what? Maybe I was just being pakul in high school.
Yeah.
This doesn't scare me. Because it scared me today,
so
man.
fucking scary.
It's
So scary.
No, and
Imagine. Yeah, sorry, go.
No,
Go, Kat.
the first time I watched this was in a haunted house. I grew up in a fairly haunted house. No, I'm not kidding because and that's the thing. It's like I can't ever explain this to people in like a setting that is not precisely for this, right? It's like imagine bringing this up, but like I would see doppelgangers of my sister, of my dad.
God.
I would be playing in my playroom, and then I'd hear my dad go "Kaki" from like and then I'd like open and I'd be like, yeah, and like he wouldn't be there. He'd be at work, but I'd hear him all the time. Or like I'd be like in the shower or something and like getting like dressed after like it's nighttime now, like the sun just set, everything, like had like a play fest outside playing badminton, with my sister, everything like that. And then I'd like parang chill lang to the day. Suddenly the sun starts setting, right? And then I enter my room and there's like a girl in the corner of the room and like her back is like to me and they never look at me ever. It's not like her face. And like
Get out of here.
And that's the thing. But like
Miguel's done for the night.
I'm so sorry. But like and then like suddenly kunyari, she'll like enter my closet and then in the closet I just hear them start going like she's here, like nandito na siya. Like everything like that and everything. It's so that's I watched that movie having grown up in that house. So I think I realized recently that I must have like repressed so many of those memories because it's just like, it's like no more. Like it's fine.
Miguel, this is Miguel's nervous laugh. Just so
I'm
you
so
know, like,
sorry, Miguel.
he's freaking out right now.
Because that's the thing. Also, my
Parang
little
naluluha
sibling.
na ako sa tawa eh.
It's like, but I remember also watching it sort of like towards the end being like, so that's the strategy. Like that's how we defeat them. Because I knew I was like, at some point, I was preparing for a war.
You would have to confront them.
Yeah, I was like 13 and I was like, so that's how it happens. Okay, that's what I have to do. And I was like, Mom, like, do I have to know this? And she's just like, yeah, just remember to cover yourself in light. And I was like, okay. So to this day, it's like ingrained in my head. Like, I know what to do, I guess, in case of a demon attack, which is so weird. But like, that's...
Galing ni... Yeah, galing ng mom mo, like, if I may call her, Tita Shawi.
Yeah.
Kasi parang Like instead of like usually other moms would, it's fine, Iha, just pray or something. That's not real. But your mom is like, yeah, remember that. It's useful.
No, and she would give me like holy water, like little bottles, like to keep next to bed and stuff. Because we all knew we were in a haunted house. Like we all knew. You'd take pictures and there would be like shadow figures in the back of like the setting and things like that. And I remember playing with a ball in the garden and then suddenly it like rolled to like a hallway. And then like, and then I went like that and I was going to go look for it again. And then the ball started bouncing up the stairs. And I was like, wow, okay, that's really weird.
Wow. It's like The Exorcist, but the other way around.
That's not the peak of this story. That's not the peak. It started bouncing up the stairs.
Not.
And then and then it like settled at the very top of the stairs. So like, and the thing is, at the top of my stairs was my older sister's room. My older sister was in college at this point. She was in Paris for college. And I knew that. I knew that she was abroad. And the thing is, my older sister's room was like glass doors. Okay, with like sort of parang some blinds, but like they weren't really fully drawn. And it was locked because she was in college. So, but I was like, why is the ball here? So like I went up and like I picked up the ball and my sister's sitting there inside the room with her back again to like to the door like this. Sorry, I turned around the mic. With her back to the door. And her hair is super long and she's like there and she's like, I forget if she was drinking like coffee or something, but she was doing something at the table, but super slowly, like really scary. And then I was like knocking on the door, like, wait, Ate's home? Like, I didn't know Ate was home, everything like that. And like when I knocked on the door, she fully stood up and again didn't turn around to look me in the face, but she stood up and like she just really slowly like crossed to like the other side of the room. And when I looked in, she disappeared.
She's not Emma.
How are you doing, Miguel?
I'm fine.
It just became a horror telling story.
I know. Which is good tape. But, is this house still with the family?
No, we moved out, and that's why my little siblings don't really have, I think, the same sort of.
Sure,
like,
they don't have your trauma.
Not trauma. Like I think it's
they're not marked like you are.
It's like fun stories.
I just realized. There's similarities between you and Reagan. You're both parents. You're both children of famous actresses. That's the whole point. And I just realized that when you said you were talking about you being 13, I was like, oh, Reagan was 13. Yeah.
No, I think I did have like a moment halfway through watching that film because again I was sick. Like I was just like bedridden also, right? And then I was like,
also sick.
Yeah, and I was like, Mom, are you trying to like send me a message? Like, what's this? Like, I was like, is there a lesson? Is there something to be learned, to be gleaned from this? And she's like, no, I just think you're old enough. And I'm like, okay, sure. Like, we watched The Omen that same
on your
weekend.
Shoulders.
We watched The Omen also. All of the
original one, right? With
yeah, of course.
The black and white.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. We watched Omen 1 and 2.
So good.
Also, like the more ones. But then we didn't watch the third now because like that pisses her off. She doesn't like. She never likes the third movie in any like franchise
installment.
Never.
Wow.
But
Except
the
Rocky.
third Conjuring is coming out.
But yeah, that's why.
Rocky 3 is so good. Oh, I love it. Okay.
That's the other. And she also
Rocky 3 is Clubber Lang, right?
Yes.
It's Mr. T.
Yes. My mom has she's actually a big film buff, and I think I just realized this now.
That's super interesting. Yeah.
That is so cool.
So that's why.
That's so cool.
Like I don't know why. Like to me, it was like no, it has to be The Exorcist this time because right, if that wasn't on the list, like somebody has to put it there, and I don't know if I was the right person for that, but like.
Trust me, you are absolutely the right person. Like, this was the way to go. Like this is fate.
Yeah, this is working out really well.
I'm so excited.
Not for Miguel, but for the podcast.
I'm so sorry, Miguel. I'm so sorry.
No. It's okay. I mean, who needs sleep? Who needs sleep, really?
I feel like such an emotional tie also because my brother's name is Miguel. So I feel like I'm so sorry, Miguel.
Totally fine. Back to The Exorcist.
Back to The Exorcist. I mean, we talked about like how scary it is, but you also kind of breached on how good it was as a film. No, you talked about the cinematography, the music is incredible. Obviously, the acting is incredible. For me, this is like on my pinnacle of film. Horror or not, I love it. And seeing it again the other day, it solidified that theory for me. It's an incredible film.
It's
What do you
really
guys think of
rare
it?
to me also.
Outside of it being a horror film.
Yeah, it's really rare also, I think, to me to like watch a horror film kasi and feel sort of completely submerged in the little universe that they create. No, like it's so hard for me nowadays to suspend disbelief because I like watching behind the scenes stuff. Sort of grew up behind the scenes, like seeing things made. Like I remember my mom would make us also sometimes watch really specific scenes from her movies, and I was like, why are you making us like she'll be like, okay, so I'm about to get stabbed. She'd like sit us down, she'd like pause it, she'd be like, so she'd like turn around, she'd go, I'm about to be stabbed.
Yeah.
But I need you to know that it's just makeup. And me and my sister would be like obviously, like you're here. You know what I mean? Like
You're standing
you're
right
here.
there.
Like you had us after this. Like what? She's just like, no, I know, but like I don't know. It might be sort of traumatic to see your mom like getting stabbed. And I was like, so don't show it. Like mom, like, but she's I love you. She's like that. And like me, like to me, like I think that was like the peak. Like she couldn't sleep that night, but I was just like, no, it's fine. Like, But that's why it's really hard for me to suspend disbelief because I think having been exposed to like so much of that stuff and like just genuinely having an interest in behind the scenes work and the artists that go in the work that goes into like making such a big work of art. But the thing about this movie is every time it starts, every time I've seen it, it's complete like immersion. Just I'm there.
Yes.
This is real. This is so, and it's so beautifully done naman kasi. So I think that's why it's so easy for it to just be like, just let everything go and allow yourself to be like super scared shitless,
I think it's a love letter to film, honestly.
Yeah.
Like the main, I mean the Reagan's mother is a famous actress. They're shooting a film on set at the beginning. Again, like the book talks about Father Karras's love for movies. Yeah, so like it's like for me, I find it very personal. Just the fact that I love movies and I love horror films. So like this is like a perfect
perfect mix
crossroads
of
of
everything.
both. Yeah,
It's so meta.
Exactly.
I think that's exactly what it is. It's so
Super.
meta because it's like happening. Everything is so, and that's why it sends a shiver up my spine because it's like it's so real to this day.
Yeah.
Obviously, it would be sort of different. I think in that moment, somebody would be taking like making a TikTok, and then like she's like getting possessed or something. Like I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it remade in the current timeline.
There's an Exorcist show which is obviously not even half as good, but it's not so bad
Is it?
if you're interested in it.
I googled the director, si William Friedkin. He's still alive pa pala.
Oh my God.
He's done some great movies.
Yeah, like he did French Connection. So he had a good 1970s.
French Connection, yes.
He did the French Connection and The Exorcist within 2 years of each other.
Wow.
Boys
Fun
in the Back.
fact,
Yeah.
William Peter Blatty and I share the same birthday.
Oh.
Bingo.
Wow.
Love it.
Wala lang. Diba he was the one who wrote it for the movie also. He
Yes.
did the screenplay.
Yes.
I find that amazing,
Yeah.
Yes.
I
What
think
else
that's
did this
why.
guy
did
write?
that too.
What Exorcist?
Exorcist 3, I
Wa-
think.
Okay, I got it.
And he specifically chose Friedkin for this movie.
Nice. So he had a vision talaga.
Yeah. He
Is
really
this
did.
based on a true story?
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
It's
Well,
based on-
yeah.
What's
It's about a boy.
Like Emily Rose.
Yeah.
Story
Yeah.
then.
But it was a boy, and then they
Okay.
changed it to a girl just to kind of hide his identity.
Oh man, American.
It's freakier that it's a girl. It's
Absolutely.
freakier.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess I
Yeah,
want to
but they
ask,
can
like, do you guys believe that this would happen in real life? Because I know that there's so much conjecture, like in the States and everything. And it's like,
know.
like people,
Yeah.
more Western cultures siguro are like they're super skeptical, no? So they're always like, no.
I like your story in the beginning wherein when you were studying in your first sem in the States, parang nag-adjust ka dahil you realized, oh shit, these white people or these Western people, they're not into
These whiteys.
Yeah, they don't have this culture or belief in the supernatural like we do. Yeah,
Like, I'm not gonna lie, the culture shocks were really different. Like, I think normally before, like, I expected less of a culture shock as it is because I guess social media already sort of exposes you to what the whole world is, sort of like in a way, or like, communicating with foreign. Like, it's not that big a gap anymore to bridge. But the culture shocks, the tiny culture shocks were definitely, they piled up. Like there was a lot of that.
Yeah.
And then I realized also that so much of like their work ethic, for example, is like, it's their entire life. Like they're so completely invested in that stuff. And that's why I think there's little to no sort of fantastical aspect in their lives so much, you know? And
sorry, I didn't mean to
No,
interrupt.
go ahead.
I was just gonna say this is why, like, when them whiteys do a remake of an Asian horror film,
that's so
it's not
bad.
as believable.
That's right. Yeah,
because they don't commit to it fully.
Yeah. Like they don't get
because they don't actually believe it.
Exactly. Whereas here it's like, parang there's such. I feel as if there's something really. I don't know. There's something just really that makes me feel really secure. In a weird way, like in watching a horror film, there is something that makes me feel more secure in knowing that like I believe a lot of this, as opposed to it being like, diba? Because I don't know. Like to me, I'm like, I sometimes I look, and if it's like a really scary movie or something like that, sometimes I'll look at my friends and I'll be like, if you don't believe this, you're next. Like you're next. Like at least you know, I'm like at least I know what to do in the event of an exorcism. Like, I don't know how to explain that. It's really trivial.
But technically, even in the movie, they didn't believe it, diba? For the longest time. Father Damien was just
Skeptic,
like, you know, we can't prove this. He was talking to her. And even after that scene, he doubted it.
Yeah.
Her face was messed up.
Like she had
He
green
mentioned the
contacts.
dad, the mom. Yeah, she had green contacts.
Like, that's not a sickness. That's not psychological. That's not like
I was like, did really? Really? Like her eyes are green.
She's tied to a bed with a different voice. Like, really? This is psychological? She just gave you 3 voices, pare.
She just gave you 3 voices. And one of them was your mom. One of them was literally your mother. How could anybody know
You guys should read up on the woman who did the voice acting for Reagan. It's pretty incredible. Yeah.
Why?
I'm gonna get some facts wrong, but like she's a voice actor. They cast her specifically for this because of the quality of her voice. And then when they cast her, she was like, you know, I mean, I'm like devoutly Catholic. I'm not a big fan of this, you know, of this whole thing where, you know, I'm gonna be talking like the devil, and I'm actually sober for a while now. But to do this role, I'm gonna have to drink. I'm gonna have to smoke.
Yeah.
And then so she did all of that. Yeah, to give that like really the gravelly quality of her voice. So she was like drunk and smoking, and while she was saying those lines, and like it apparently really affected her afterwards or during actually. Yeah. So you read up about it. It's pretty interesting.
Commit.
Yeah, she committed. Yeah.
100%. Damn.
I'm gonna be
Sana,
like,
it was worth it.
I'm gonna be tucked into my cover tonight, like fully. You know how if your foot is not outside of the blanket, then whatever's under your bed.
The shark is gonna get it.
Whatever's under your bed,
or whatever's out there,
or whatever it is. Yeah,
exactly. Like the dark can't get it.
If you think you're gonna be like that, I wonder what Miguel's gonna be doing tonight.
He's all lights are on. He's gonna be playing the circle.
Guys, we're not gonna leave this room until there's sunlight.
Can I just
everybody stay online. Everybody stay online.
Can I recommend?
We can't find the exit.
I have a really good technique when it comes to like when something gets too scary, naman. Like at any point in life, all you have to do is sing a One Direction song in your head. That's all you have to do. Because as soon as like it's like a really scary scene in the movie, and you know that the jump like scare is gonna come really soon and everything, just start singing What Makes You Beautiful. Because nothing scary can happen when you're insecure, don't know what for, you know? Like
unless may mag-sing along with you.
And it's funny. So you have a great story.
Yeah, it's funny. We can bond over it. Yeah. Me and whatever is
me and whatever's behind you.
The present?
Baby, you light up my world like nobody.
Oh my god.
How I kind of get away when I'm like super scared. I think I share this with a lot of people in production, and I don't know, maybe if I'm sure your mom does it as well. It's like you always think about like, so the camera was on the right. There's a big like Janet light behind you. You know, the blood is syrup and food coloring and whatever to make it thicker. You can break it down into small pieces.
Yeah.
Just to kind of
process
separate you from what's
that
happening.
as opposed to the disaster currently unfolding in front. Also, it might help now to know that whenever you guys are watching those scenes, just know that I probably watched those same scenes and heard my mom's voice in my head going, yee! Bulaga! Or like shit, the very, very rare like, oh shit, or like, punyemas. Oh my god, like, and I'm just like, either way, you've broken, like, that's the thing. My mom is my disbelief in terms of suspension of disbelief. She is my disbelief because whenever the movie starts, it's like that I hear her. She's with me in my heart and my mind.
I'm really interested because we've been talking about, obviously because of the Exorcist, but we've been talking about like spiritual horror. Is there any other specific type of sub-genre in horror that scares you?
Lovecraftian horror. Lovecraftian horror.
Lovecraftian.
I am a huge fan.
Interesting.
I'm such a big fan that I literally started writing up a concept album called Cosmic Horror because my first, I think, is going to be called Outer Space. And the second, I want to deal with like the existential, giant, overwhelming dread of things in outer... Because outer space is both the thing I love most in the world and the thing that scares me most in the world. So...
Damn.
Sure.
Yeah.
I can't.
What was the last good Lovecraftian film you saw?
I actually haven't seen any films. I've only ever read. So that's that's my
they're
own
a bunch I think you'll really enjoy.
Yeah, that's my own assignment now. Actually, like as soon as I came up with it, I was like, Cosmic Horror is such a pretty like concept name for a thing, especially for people who have no idea what they're like getting into. Like to sing about like just like I literally don't know what's out there, and that's what's so scary to me right now because there's so many possibilities. Like I think that I'm gonna have to. If you have any, what's your favorite film, Lovecraftian film?
Favorite, maybe In the Mouth of Madness, but there's a good one that came out a few years ago. Oh no, Mandy came out 2 years ago. Nick Cage, and
that's Lovecraftian.
Yes.
What is the definition of
Color Out of Space also came out last year. That's another good one. Another one starring Nick Cage.
I love Nick Cage. I miss Nick Cage. His presence was so very strong
Again,
in my childhood.
Fun fact. We share a birthday.
No way! Wow, this episode really ties itself up like so neatly.
Wow.
William, Peter, Nick, and me. What's up, Capricorns?
Wait, when's your birthday? When's your birthday?
Jan 7.
My mom's birthday is Jan 6.
Capricorns, the coolest people ever.
Damn.
Wait, so I think you have the same birthday as. Let me check. You have the same birthday as
Elvis?
my first ever, my best friend Beagle, my dog. But like,
that's great.
what happened
You're
9
meeting
months
all the
before
cool
January? What's 9 months before January? Why are there so many people?
I
with
can't
that
compute.
Oh my god.
No idea. But yeah, amazing. See,
yeah, Lovecraftian.
All the birthdays.
I need to watch some Lovecraftian movies. Like that's what I need to. And to answer Miguel's question, wait, I'll Google it up for you because I just know it has a lot to do with like existential dread and like very sci-fi
and creatures.
There's some creatures. Yeah, there's a lot of here. Sometimes used Lovecraftian horror, sometimes used interchangeably with cosmic horror, is a subgenre of horror fiction and weird fiction that emphasizes the horror of the unknowable and incomprehensible. So it's literally existential dread. So more than gore or elements of shock. So it's named after H.P. Lovecraft because those are all of his works like cosmic dread, forbidden and dangerous knowledge, madness, non-human influences on humanity, religion and superstition, stuff like that. I think
it's very broad. It's very like all encompassing. Like you can even sneak religion into that a little and that's really cool.
It's so scary because it's like it's literally being afraid of what you don't know, and I feel like I can't, like that's the kind of thing that makes my mind go like out of control. I feel like I've been like catapulted into outer space and I'm just rolling and it's infinite and nobody's there. That's so scary. I've had dreams like that. Too many dreams like that.
Wow.
Damn.
But it's not necessarily sci-fi, no. It's still very creature. I mean, it's still very mystery oriented, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. Because it's not so much.
I don't think I've seen any movie like that. Yeah.
That's why I feel like I think I might have been deliberately avoiding it because like the books were so like to me and it shaped so much of what I'm actually afraid of. Like oh my god, the existential dread in the middle of the night. Do you ever wake up at like 4 a.m. and you're just like scared of something? No. Oh,
And you don't know what it is?
I was expecting everybody to go like, yeah.
Miguel will be number one there. Number one.
Yo, you do.
No, for me, when I wake up in the morning, that means I've survived. But I've in many occasions I've waked up in the middle of the night or like, pag medyo dark pa. And for somebody who's not a believer or somebody who's more of a skeptic and who doesn't have a third eye, parang my dreams get weird and my sleeping experience always gets weird. Like I always feel a presence or like, but it's also, you're also in the middle of whether you're dreaming or real life. So it's hard to tell.
Yeah.
But I've had very vivid dreams lucid dreams wherein I think it's real and it's horror, but I know it's a dream. So I kind of control it a little. Parang yan. Like to a skeptic like me, that's just like psychology and the subconscious. But to a person who believes in the supernatural, may meaning yun, diba? Parang, I think you're connected. I think you're connected to something else. Yung mga klase, like, what the hell?
Have you guys ever gotten sleep paralysis?
Yes.
I don't.
Like at least twice a year.
I've never. Like
that's cool.
It's
not fun. Yeah.
It's not fun. It's not
fun. It's not fun. Like, but the best thing to do is recognize that it's sleep paralysis and then go back to sleep so that you can wake up. May ganun eh. Parang, I don't know.
Like, what does it
and
mean?
I know, you try to yell. So my experience, and it's only happened to me twice ever.
Okay.
I was sleeping and then my dream was, it was something like outdoors. It was an outdoors dream. Wala lang was happening. But the whole time, there was like a really far black figure na hindi ko pinapansin. Outdoor, it's just there. And then it caught my attention and then suddenly, it goes really fast towards my face. Bam! And then I open my eyes and I can't move.
Oh my God.
Yes,
and I
so
can't
good.
say anything. And I was trying to call my mom. Wala. And I was just like that. So it's only happened to me twice ever. And I never want it to happen again. Holy crap.
I did not
Never
realize
again.
also part of me being like jarred right now is I did not realize that the glasses you have on Zoom are a filter. Because when you went like that, when she put her hand next to her face, I was like, wow, I thought that you were like, that freaked me out.
Yep.
Oh my God.
I'm the filter user in the group.
So scary.
That's me.
This one time though, I was like about to sleep or like I couldn't because I've had insomnia since I was 14, 15ish. And it's not to do with like just fear of things. It's just to do with I cannot sleep and this is so, parang do you ever get that? Like your brain is really loud and it's like hard.
Oh, that's me now, yeah.
Yeah. So sorry. But yeah, this one night I was just like, trying really hard. And I was like I was praying na like, God, like, please, I really just want to sleep because I'm pretty sure I had like a test the next morning, and I was like, I don't want to wake up at 6 a.m. It's already 3 a.m. Like, I don't want to, I could already feel myself like I might get sick. And then like literally I was like about to sleep now, I felt myself, when you like catch yourself like about to sleep now, something literally went into my face and was like, wake up. And I was like, okay. Oh. I was like, thank you. That's like stuff like that.
So does that ever happen again, Frankie? Na you're about to drift off and somebody speaks to you to wake up?
It hasn't happened recently, thank God.
Or was a one?
Thank God it hasn't happened recently.
But
yeah.
So it's happened to me so many times that I'm about to fall asleep and then a loud audible thing wakes me up. Like it's either my doorbell or a bang or it's never a voice, but it's always like a loud, natural sounding sound. Like, and then it's nothing. Nothing in my room is doing that. Like nothing fell. Nobody's at the door.
It's in your head.
And I had to Google it, and apparently it's a phenomenon. Like it's explained by science, but also it's weird. Yeah.
I can feel Miguel's skepticism. I can feel Miguel's skepticism.
Can science explain the person behind you right now?
I did that to my best friend once, but she didn't believe me because I do that to her all the time. But at one point, there really was something behind her, and I was like, dude, I was like, Sophia, I don't know how to tell you this, but there's literally a figure like behind you right now, and she was like, oh no, that's my mannequin for like fashion school, and I was like, girl, I wish you told me because like literally the hair was like that. It looked like Sadako was like creeping up on her, and it was so funny because I was like, if I tell this girl, she's not gonna believe me because I do this to her so often. You know what I mean? And I was like,
yeah.
I know.
We actually use that joke on Miguel all the time, so I don't know why he still gets scared.
And it works half the time. But it still works.
Yeah. How about you guys? Just to kind of keep this going about what subgenre scares you. How about you guys? Miguel and Aaron.
Good question. Aaron, you have something?
Non-religious horror, non-spiritual horror.
Yeah, Mumu talaga scares me.
Yeah.
I'm terrified of Mumu. And I've said this on many of our episodes, but the thing that scares me the most all the time is Magandang Gabi Bayan Halloween edition. Every single time. Because they talk about places you know. Sa isang barangay, sa Makati. And you're like,
lapit sa amin nun.
Diba?
I remember being really hyped before for like Shake, Rattle, and Roll film. But then eventually I was sort of like, I kind of grew out of them now, I guess. But like
we've seen a couple.
Yeah.
We've seen a couple for the show.
For that,
It's a mixed bag.
It is, no? It really is.
There's good stuff, and then there's
some
not
really good stuff.
Yeah.
And some really bad stuff as well.
What was that?
Yeah. What?
How about you, Miguel?
Oh! Shit! I thought you heard something and like what?
No.
I was talking about. I was just talking about shake, rattle, and roll. Like, there's some good stuff, and there's some like, what was that?
Mention stop yung heart ko ng konti. Anyway, so I think for me, aside from the spiritual horror, I think poltergeist stuff would also freak me out. Like,
isn't that the same like spiritual? Like,
sometimes it's not, diba? Like sometimes it's just like a terrorizing ghost. It's not religion. I don't know. Maybe
okay. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm lumping religion and spiritual horror.
I'm fine with monsters. Apparently, I'm fine
killers.
With bodyguard. But anything, I think talaga it's really supernatural. And then if it's a very specific kind of supernatural stuff, like if it's very local or very specific to a country, yung may konting cult, like Asian horror is oh my god, yeah. Like Noroi freaked the fuck out of me.
That was
remember we had to like, it's just like, for me that was so scary na it's like a smidge under Ringu lang. Ganun ka scary yung Noroi for me. Mm-hmm. Like Ringu's totally horrifying and scary, but and then Noroi is almost up there.
It was the docu treatment, no?
Yeah.
That's why, because it adds to the
weirdness.
Yeah.
It's on YouTube, Kaki, if you want to watch.
Please send it to me. Because I've watched a couple like Thai and Chinese films with my mom. But the thing is, I never remember. I'm really bad with titles in general. Like, I'm really, really bad. Sure. Unless it's something punchy like The Exorcist.
Shutter holds up, diba? Didn't we see Shutter recently, guys? Was that what you saw?
So
that holds up. That's very good.
Yeah.
Very good. What are the more recent horror films that you've kind of enjoyed, Frankie?
Like really enjoyed, or like just sort of like really, I mean, I sort of watched because that's the thing.
Enjoyed or
like,
we're scared of whichever.
Yeah. Because I think that in terms of fear, it's really The Conjuring 2. I can't explain. I think it was the whole nun thing. I think that's what it was, because I don't like
there was
that.
a nun.
Yes.
Yeah,
oh, you didn't watch. It was the painting. It was the painting for me, because I generally have that one scene where Lorraine goes into like the room and then the painting's there and then the shadows like move. Like that's the one that's
a good scene.
I was like, oh my god, because I don't know why. And like the ending was really nice, right? Like they put together the recording tapes and stuff like that, and it wasn't so. So that was like that kept me awake for a good like 4 days, maybe. I was literally like, I can't do it. Especially because it didn't help that we had like a rat problem at home at the time. So like,
so the sounds.
Yeah, in the middle of the night, I just hear like, and I'm just like, stop it, like please, like you know what I mean. So it just wasn't. I feel like whenever I watch horror movies that are supposed to really scare me, God like throws some stuff my way, like in terms of okay, so now the house will be. Now there's going to be a rat problem just to make sure that this really drove it home for you. But Quaresma, we were talking about Quaresma. Like I forgot how much I actually really loved that movie. Not to sound like it's plugging my mom or anything, but that is like the only. I mean, sorry, there's a duplicate, but like just the fact that she's like, I'm so sorry because. But like
I heard the sound first, then like
It's just the ticket. Don't worry. It's just echoing. Sometimes there's mga tuko also here, and then we'll count like uulan o hindi,
Yes.
everything. Right?
Oh, nga pala, you're in the farm.
Yeah,
She's
in
in
the
the farm. She's in the farm.
But I think what made Quaresma really fun also for my mom is that yun nga, that's the first and only. She's made like 63 movies, 60 something movies, and that's the first and only horror movie she's ever done as a fan, as a super fan of horror.
Wow.
So that was
That's
like
so strange.
right? But it was so important.
Like
to
that's
her.
the only one.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was really good. Like it made me think. It didn't scare me as much, I think, but like psychological thriller wise, like super beautiful. And I love Eric Matthew's work. So good.
Yeah. He did another horror film right before that, Seclusion. That's
Oh yeah.
pretty damn good too.
I saw fragments of it. I wasn't able to finish it. I forget why. I think it might have been because we were like watching it for Filipino class. So like that's why. Okay, so like that
God.
reminds me. That
It
reminds
sounds like a
me. I
really
still
fun
have
class.
I feel the urge to call Chris Mr. Costello. Like, it's taking me back. It's taking me back to those days. But yeah, like, sorry, I had to plug in.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it's
So, Mr. Costello,
Yes, ma'am.
would you like to give any words of anything about The Exorcist that you
Yeah, I think we should
enjoyed?
let's
Mr.
why don't we do
Costello?
why don't we do the why don't we go back and why don't we kind of I think it's a great time to kind of wrap things up.
Mhm.
Why don't we all
I'll
do
go first because I have the most lightweight. I have the most lightweight opinion.
one last word on The Exorcist before we head out.
This was a really scary movie for me when I saw it 25 years ago.
Wait. How old were you 25 years ago? You were 19.
Oh,
99,
or
right?
no, gago. I was like 17. No, it came out in 99. It wasn't 25 years ago, dude. It was like 21 years ago.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Tina natin sa math.
What a big difference.
Com majors. Damn. Anyway, so yeah, 20 years ago, I saw it. Scared me enough to not see it again for the second time for this pod.
Even for this podcast.
Yeah, but you
Even
can tell them,
watching it respectfully for our guests
I know,
who requested
it's
it.
fine.
no disrespect, man. It was just really scary.
No, yeah,
What
I
I'm
understand.
saying.
Like it's completely fine because it's
Yeah.
The Exorcist. Like I get it. Like
Yeah. And parang there's enough detail naman in my mind to not warrant a rewatch. But tama si Frankie na, nothing before that was like that. And then everything that came afterwards was like, would reference this movie. And that's its value.
That was the stick
Yeah.
that they measured
Yeah.
itself. Yeah.
And it's really well made. It's a beautiful film from what I remember.
Can I go next, Aaron?
Go ahead.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Awesome. Super big fan of The Exorcist. Obviously, both the film and the book. Also a fan of both the author and the director, William Friedkin. Again, super holds up to this day. Super love it as a film, not just as a horror film. Super glad that we got to watch it again. One day, I will make sure that Miguel gets to watch it.
Yeah. During
second
daytime.
time?
Let's do it.
During daytime.
As a group during daytime. Let's do it.
don't start it during daytime because it will end in the night. Like you're gonna be
No,
left
I
with
wouldn't-
that effect. The
No,
whole
by
night.
daytime, I mean morning. Like, there's enough at 9, and then we can have a good lunch
8 in the morning,
afterwards.
Yeah.
We can have a good lunch.
But yes, absolutely big fan. And, maybe I can convince my wife to name our second child Damien if she's a man.
That's
I'll
such
try a
risk.
second time. I'll probably fail, but yeah. But yes, Aaron.
All right. So I absolutely loved it. Having seen it again today, seeing it during the day, which was a smart move for me
Yep.
with
Smart
the
job.
blinds up. You know what I mean? In aircon. I really enjoyed watching it again because I forgot how scary it actually was. And I remember seeing it with a group of friends. Now I just saw it with one friend. It's scarier the less you are. So
Mhm.
yeah, I really enjoyed it. And I would recommend it. I would recommend it as a film, as a horror film. So
I
good.
recommend
so
it
good.
also.
So, Frankie,
All right.
any last words on The Exorcist?
I think I'm gonna start my final word with words of my mom regarding this film and the Rocky films, but only those films. So there's
And
like,
the Rocky
like,
films.
the Rocky
I
films
love it.
and The Exorcist. And if you like, I remember she would ask me like, have you seen this film? And I'd be like, Mom, I'm 8. I watch what you show me. And she'd be like, oh, that's right. Because, and then this is the most quotable, like, I can hear her saying it right now in my head. So I have to say this. I feel compelled. She'd be like, you're missing half your life. And I'd be like, she would say it with such dramatic delivery as well that you'd feel utterly compelled. You could not say no. She'd be whipping out her laptop, already typing in the movie title, and you can't leave. Like, you had plans with your friends, cancel them because you're missing half your life. You need to watch this movie. So I think that cinematically, such a masterpiece from beginning to end. You do need the stomach for it though. So like, if anybody who's listening hasn't seen this yet, I think you absolutely must see it, but devote energy and like time and like a day. You know what I mean? Like, don't think that it's like a casual watch, because it definitely is not. It will linger in your mind. It will carve itself into your brain, and you need to be prepared for that. Build a little house.
Have a
sage
have a cleansing ritual in place.
Have a little
burn some sage right after.
Yeah, save. Make that part of already devote like a little chunk of your brain that can be scarred by this forever. You know, make it homey. And then just. But like, that's so true. Honestly, I love the characters in it because they're so well rounded. It doesn't feel as if it's just horror for the sake of being scary. You know, it feels like there's a story that's being told, and there are dynamics that are being explored that a lot of, let alone like drama films, like dramatic films, like not even horror films, like a lot of cinema like doesn't normally access that part, that depth in like the art. And that's what I really love about it. And I think that it's crazy that it just happened to be a horror film. Like, I think that's what it is. Yeah. It's a masterpiece. It's so perfect. Please watch it. I'm gonna watch it again and again and again and again. And I'm gonna analyze it. I need to desensitize myself also. I need to desensitize myself and be like, it's fine.
Fine. Exactly.
I love that. So thank you so much, Frankie. Before we go, is there anything you'd like to promote as an independent artist?
or as an activist on the right side?
Oh, wow, there's so many.
On the correct side.
Goodness gracious.
As Aaron said.
Actually, by the time this podcast is out, I think my EP will be out. If it's not yet, then it's very soon.
Nice.
It's a bunch of sad songs, naman. So like, if you're like in the mood to not get scared but just be really like sad, like please do check out that EP. It's called. I guess I could say it now. It's gonna be called About Her Space, which is about.
I'm looking forward.
So that's gonna be fun.
Wait, is it folksy or is it like
it's sort of more so like basically it's. Oh, we're gonna get sandy naman now. Like no, it's like a compilation.
This is our cleansing now.
Cleansing ritual. It's like a compilation of songs that I wrote a couple years ago now. So like still in Miss Costello days. Sorry, Mr. Costello. But yeah, so
still in Miss Costello days.
Still in Miss Costello
days. Oh my god, this is gonna date us forever.
I think if I ever see it, like when I see you guys in real life manifesting that as well, like I'm gonna definitely feel pressured. I'm gonna be like Mr. Costello all the way. I'm so sorry. Like, especially if Miss Maggie's there, especially if she's there, because we still DM each other, and I'm still like, Miss Mags, like I miss you, but she's always gonna be missed me. Like I can't. Like it's weird.
And you know that Miss Maggie's younger than Mr. Chris.
That's
right?
why. So I feel extra compelled to be like, I can't call.
Extra compelled.
I love that. If we all see each other, it's gonna be, hey Mix, hey Aaron, hey Mr. Costello.
Mr. Costello.
Do you know, Frankie? Do you know that Miguel and Aaron haven't met in real life?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! No, I can fully believe
we met
that.
during. Yeah, this whole podcast was created during the pandemic, and we've never had a chance to meet.
Oh my god! Yeah. That's so hard.
Maybe one time I'll drive by Aaron and say hi. Just wave out to the window.
Oh my god!
Wait, about the music. Sorry.
No.
That's
pretty much it. Like, there's probably an EP out, and also,
yes.
I don't know what else to promote. Gay rights, Soji Bill, like Facet, like everything, like. Guys, register to vote. Oh, there we go. Register to vote.
That's the one.
Because September's coming quick, guys. September's coming quick. Yeah. Please register to vote. Please, dear God. Please register to vote. If you don't know how to, you can go to bit.ly/iRehistro. I remember the link. I give it to everybody. And
good job.
That's beautiful.
Love it.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Frankie. It was so much fun.
This was
having
so
you
fun.
here.
This was so
much fun.
I love you guys. Thank you
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And for the people listening, thank you so much for listening to this episode. We hope we didn't spook you too much. So we're going to close off, and please follow us on our social media. We have an Instagram called @DeadAirPod, and subscribe to our episode, of course, subscribe to our podcast as well. Listen to all the other episodes, and we hope that you can get to sleep tonight. Yeah, so take care, everybody.
Unlike Miguel.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Good night.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Brought to you by Big Baby Studios.